right, so we're starting right away. We are on to Senegal today, and we're landing in Dakar, Senegal. Senegal is a West African country having boundary with the Atlantic Ocean northern parts, Gambia, Mali, Mauritania, Guinea. This is a lower middle income country. By now, for those that have been joining this program, you know the implication of a lower middle income country. A low income country is a country that have an average person in that country earning less than $1,000 per annum. Lower middle is between 1,000 and 4,000. Upper middle is between 4 and 12, and above 12 is high income country. High income country. This country scored 59.3%, ranking 123rd out of almost 200 countries on the Ease of Doing Business Index of the World Bank. So this country is not doing so badly. Let's go into Senegal. Looking at Senegal, location, West Africa, bordering North Atlantic, Guinea-Bissau and Mauritania. The good thing about this country is that it's not a landlocked country. And that's instructive. The fact that it's not a landlocked country is very, very instructive. It's very, very instructive because the fact that it's not a landlocked country means to be able to get products into this country become a lot easier. You can go by sea. For countries that are landlocked, you really will not be able to go by sea. But for countries that are not landlocked, you can go by sea. So for those that are not landlocked, we are consigned to road, rail, and by air, of course. Most of these countries that are landlocked have to depend, and about 15, 16 countries in Africa are landlocked actually. And they have to depend on other countries. A country like Ethiopia is landlocked. It depends on Djibouti, a very small country, to be able to have access to the ocean and be able to get, unlike some other country, like Nigeria having a very large, or like the island that are surrounded by water. Country like Cape Verde, country like Comoros, country like Seychelles, you know, those kind are just right there in the middle of Indian Ocean. Population is about 16 million. This country is not up to Lagos State. This country, Sanwo-Olu alone. You know, as I go through different countries in Africa, I can understand the reason why this country, we are just a major force in Africa. I can say that without any shadow of doubt. You know, the first time I met a particular guy in the UK, a Cameroonian, if he was Cameroonian, but lives in the UK. We met at a conference in Reading, and he was telling me that, look, they were, in fact, that's why it's so sad the way our country has become after 2015 election. After 2015 election, you know, we were high hope. And that was the time I met him in UK, and he said, look, Africa is going nowhere if Nigeria does not move. Africa is going nowhere if Nigeria does not move, because there's so much essence from Nigeria. Nigeria is the big brother. Nigeria is the big brother. And there's so much essence from our country. Unfortunately, it's been a very bad or sad story since this current administration. I'm hoping that things get better. Really, it's not funny at all for our country right now. Religion is 95.9% Muslim. That's instructive also. You know, the essence of this economic snapshot is to give an overview of the way the economy is run, and that give an insight into what the people will buy. Religion influence culture and way of life of the people, and the way of life of people influence what they will buy. The country is official, the lingua franca is French. So the implication of that is, because there are a lot of people speaking French in that country, if your product is only labeled in English, obviously, you know you need a modification on the product. Obviously, you need a modification on the product. If your product is only labeled in English, you most definitely need a modification of that product, such that you can then also have label to be in French. This country produces granite, watermelon, rice, sugarcane, cassava, millet, maize, onion, sorghum, vegetable. Now, if you are going into a country and they're already producing a product you're exporting, that they are producing a product is a sign that there is a market, number one. It's also a sign of competition. It's for you now to check this product they produce, do they import it? And we shall see that very soon. If they import it, that's an opportunity. That means you have competition, there's a market, but you have competition. Other people are shipping into that country. Industries, agriculture and fish processing, phosphate mining, fertilizer production, petroleum refining, zircon, gold mining, construction, mineral ship construction, and repair. Like I said, it's a lower middle income country. It's a lower middle income country. Being a lower middle income country means the low income country and lower middle income country, Nigeria is a lower middle income country. Being a low income and lower middle income country basically says that the people in that country are living on survival. That means it's only things that people bought during COVID that will sell. Things that people use for survival that will sell in that country. And that's very important. So that if you're going to sell in that country, you need to be asking the very important question, what would they buy? FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods is what will reasonably sell in that kind of market. Why will that be? Because it's a lower and middle income country. So there is a very low disposable income. The people, they are basically living for survival. People, they are basically living for survival. Urbanization is 48%. That's a good news. Any country that have a very low urbanization means you spend more money on distribution. Developing and building distribution channel is going to be a lot of cost if they don't already have a good distribution channel in that country because they are scattered. But when you have 48 people in urban centers, that means you won't have to spend a lot of money on distribution because a lot of people are living in urban centers, which are typically close to the ocean. That means where the good will be entering from, the people that you are trying to reach, majority of them are in that particular zone or province or state or location or region of the country. Literacy level is very low. 51.9 is low. 51.9 is low. Literacy level is very important. In fact, what I discover is the higher the level of literacy, the higher the level of income. Because the people now have developed mind to be able to do a lot for themselves. Inflation is very low, very good, 2.53%. GDP, 23.57. Household consumption, as usual. Household consumption, 71.9%. You know, the GDP has household consumption component, as consumption component, some of which are government, some of which are household. But in this case, household consumption is 71%. You should not be surprised. This is the common trend. You know, this is the 40th episode of this program. We have done 39 countries. And I can say in all those 39 countries, there is a consistent trend. A country with low income, we have a high household consumption level. A country that also have low income, the country that have low income is going to have high consumption level, and low income countries are also country with a high level of young population. High level of young population. You know, because in such country, death rate is very high. Life expectancy is usually maybe 40-something, 50-something, 60-something. So you have a lot of people living above 60 years, and then you have death rate very high. Of course, if there is no job, if there is unemployment, what do you expect? When the ladies are in the bedroom and few ladies in the boardroom, of course you expect a lot of baby making. Because the people sleep early, there's no light. Per capita income, 1,430. That's what makes them lower middle income, because many countries in Africa earn below 1,000. Many countries in Africa earn below 1,000, but this country earn 1,430. An average person earn $1,430 per annum. GDP composition, agric, 16.9. Industry, 24.3. Services, 58.8. What? This another, you know, Nigeria, Africa have missed it in the industrial revolution. There is something going on right now. Service export in the world is about 25% of good export. Good export in the world is about $18 trillion. Service export is about $6 trillion. So 1/3 of merchandise good export or trade is service, or 25% of total trade in the world, both good and services, 25% is service. And it's been growing consistently. The Indian and Southeast Asia are leading in that direction. And I also realized that for many African countries, services constitute a good chunk. For many African countries, more than 50% are services. That's telling us, and the beauty of services is that less infrastructure is required. So with just skill, you can do a lot in services. And that's another place Nigeria and African countries can play a lot. Can you see the egg structure? I also noticed a consistency, very strong positive correlation between the level of income and the level of young population. Between level of income and the level of young population. Majority of African countries have at least 60% below 25 years. At least 60%. These are very instructive information. Anything I'm going to sell in that country, if I really want to reach masses, to be able to buy, you know what? I need to sell what the young population will be interested in. What the young population will be interested in. Probably what anybody can buy, that young population also will be interested in. Because that's a critical mass you can't leave out if you really want to go into that market. So let me ask the question we often ask every week. What do you want to export? What do you want to export? What do you want to export? Can you export that product or service? Is there enough demand for that product or service? Is there enough demand for that product or service? Do you have a compelling value proposition? Do you have a target market? Can you meet market price expectation? Do you have a distribution and marketing plan? Do you have capacity and capability to export? Have you investigated payment issues? Can you fund your export drive? Have you completed an export marketing plan? Treat Imperial Academy through the Executive Diploma in Export Business Management and from Export Novice to Export Legend program can help you answer this question, working with you and your company to get you ready for the export market. In 2018, Senegal was 110 in the world economy. Number 110 in the world economy. Senegal was number 110 in the world economy. Number 120 in total exports, and number 97 in total import. And number 88 most complex economy in the world. In 2008, Senegal exported $3.89 billion worth of goods. Our interest is in import, importing 11.1, a whopping $7 billion deficit. Oh, sorry, negative trade balance, rather. Or trade deficit, like some people would refer to it. The top export of this country is gold, refined petroleum, phosphoric acid, non-fillet frozen fish. Cement, top import, refined petroleum, crude oil, rice, cars, wheat. Where does Senegal export to? Senegal exports to Mali. Very good. Switzerland, India, Spain, Italy, and import from China, mainly from China. Almost every country in the world, in Africa, imports heavily from China. Nigeria is about 20 to 30% of our import every year. 20 to 30% every year of the total 35 to 45 billion dollar of import of Nigeria are from China.
To get the full video, check the description or visit www.globaltradecollege.com.